As this is the last video of the year, I want to leave you with some positive thoughts. After an unprecedented year like this, where we just kept hitting new laws, I want to take a look at why there is hope after all, and why we might soon turn the page on this awful period. I'm Dr. Bartolomescu, and you're watching The Medical Futurist. First, let me take you back to the beginning of the year, when the first scary news arrived from Wuhan. While most of us haven't yet paid attention to it, Chinese scientists sequenced the complete genome of the novel virus within 40 hours. I can't emphasize how insanely fast this process was, given the complexity of the task. But that's where science is today. From the genome sequencing, we learned that the new virus is about 80% related to SARS, and work on a vaccine could start immediately. And now, as many potential vaccines are going through phase 3 testing as we speak, it seems like we are going to have 90–95% effective vaccines very soon. In fact, the one from Pfizer and BioNTech has now been approved in the UK and the US, besides other countries too. That's not to say that it will immediately be available to everyone. It's gonna take well into 2021 until everyone can be vaccinated, but it does mean that the ones who are at most risk and the ones who are working and fighting in the front lines can soon take a sigh of relief. And I need to emphasize two things here. First, these are working, tested, effective vaccines, not ones that the scientific community barely has any information about. And second, since the rollout in the UK has started, that means less than a year from the discovery of the virus to creating the vaccine, testing it and approving it. It's unprecedented. The way healthcare workers and scientists stepped up against this common threat is frankly astonishing. This is science at its very best. It has been proven time and time again that when things turn bad, it is science and medicine that can and will save us. And it rarely has been so clearly shown than it is during this pandemic. And I want you all to remember that if we manage to open up our countries next year and we can start to take back our lives, it's due to those heroes who worked day and night all year, whether to save the ones who were struggling with this disease or to protect the population from catching it. They need to be celebrated. And their accomplishments should give us hope beyond the management of this crisis. Before the crisis, there was already a huge burden on healthcare, and it seemed to be dead last on the list of priorities for most politicians. Now, the pandemic has shown not just how important an efficient healthcare system truly is, but where exactly the cracks are. On the individual level, being healthy is the absolute basis of living a full life. But on the level of our societies, we never seem to appreciate the fact that a good healthcare system is the basic building block a thriving civilization can be built upon. If you don't believe me, just take a look at how COVID devastated the world economy. But it's one of those things that we don't really appreciate until it's gone or goes haywire. Now, with the pandemic opening our eyes, our newfound appreciation will be translated to investments, not just into public health, but into digital health startups too. Some vaccines work with a weakened virus, so your immune system can fight it and gain immunity against it. From our healthcare system's perspective, I like to think of COVID-19 that way too. If you think about healthcare systems as our collective immune system, COVID gave it a fight that at least it can win in time. And perhaps, when the next inevitable health crisis hits us, we will be much more ready than we were a year ago. But for that, we need to change how we think about our leaders too. The pandemic has revealed that governing is not a reality show. Now we've seen where our politicians' priorities lie, and this crisis only rewarded leaders who listened to the science, while it punished those who denied it. Just take a look at Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, who had a clear goal from the beginning: to eliminate the virus entirely from the Kiwis' land. She made the hard decisions, ordered lockdown soon, but they rewarded her with the case numbers dropping to zero, and New Zealand was back to normal as the rest of the world was struggling. Ironically, it was the countries that were afraid to sacrifice their economy through the effects of a lockdown that suffered the most financially, while New Zealand was already back in business. So overall, half measures tend to do a lot of harm, and ignoring science does the most. Hopefully, we all pay attention to leaders like Jacinda and we will make our next choices accordingly, because now it's painfully clear how much they matter. And as we head into a new era of Anthropocene, where humanity's impact on our climate is undeniable, we need strong leaders and full measures, because this pandemic is just a test on the grand scale of things. The real crisis of our lifetime is the impending climate catastrophe, and once again, it's only science that will be able to save us. But as for now, even though 2020 will go down in history as a year of many crises, there is still a reason for hope despite everything. The coronavirus is a universal experience of our generation. As it tore our social fabric apart, through digital technologies, we managed to stay connected. This year became a social cohesion unlike any since the World Wars. We are all in this together, and hopefully next year we will experience how it is to win and to move on.